the Big Ten NFL Combine invites by team. Now, I don't remember people talking about invites as much as they seem to be doing now. So I've never really addressed it on the show in the years that we've been doing it. We've talked about how many players get drafted, but we don't always talk about how many players are invited to the combine. However, I thought it was an interesting topic. I thought maybe we could go somewhere with it, Zach. So
Mhm.
let's talk about it. If you're listening on podcast, the order with the number of players invited to the combine for every Big Ten team. I'm going to rattle it off really fast, and then Zach, I'm going to let you give your thoughts. Ohio State 15, Oregon 13, Michigan 8, Iowa 7, Minnesota 6, Penn State and Maryland and UCLA all with 5, Nebraska and Rutgers with 4, USC and Wisconsin with 3, Indiana with 2, and then Illinois, Purdue, and Washington with 1. Michigan State and Northwestern did not send any to the NFL Combine. Zach, do you have any thoughts, takeaways, analysis from this and like what this might mean for maybe this past year or maybe this year going forward? What's your thoughts from seeing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few that I have. One, and Mish in the chat pointed this out, but Penn State only sending 5. I think my take on it is it's a reminder that they are bringing so many guys back who are NFL level players. And I like a few weeks ago, I was on the show saying I don't think they can win a national championship. My mind is starting to change a little bit on that, especially with some of the moves they made. I know you put out a
The
video about
Stan Drayton move
Stan.
is fantastic. I
Oh,
cannot I cannot even tell you how amazing of a move that is by James
he's
Franklin.
so good,
He is.
and I'm so
The
mad.
dude wins wherever he goes. They win.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a great
but
move.
I think that's one. I'm surprised, and Robert Walter made this point. I can't believe that Zachary Franklin didn't get an invite, but also the fact that only Pat Bryant is going. Again, they're bringing back a ton of talent for next year, and we've been saying it on this show that like I think people are expecting Illinois to dip next year. I'm not. I'm not because they bring back everybody and they got some wide receivers who I don't think can necessarily replace the guys that they're losing, but I think they're bringing in enough guys to make it like to be able to have some firepower. So those are a couple of them, and then I think Minnesota having 6. I think it
I think that's a
proves.
testament to the type of program PJ Fleck is building with their
Yeah,
development right now.
yeah, and
Right?
they're gonna have guys drafted like Ariante Ursary is gonna go early. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Daniel Jackson tests because I think he could surprise some people and get taken a little earlier than maybe people think.
Yeah.
I love me some Daniel Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel Jackson's awesome. Trojan Fight is asking if he missed the. I believe you're referencing the coaching rankings list. No, we're getting to that next. So this is our final topic before we get to the coaching rankings. No worries there. Trojan Fight, you're still in for it. Yeah. So I think some things that stuck out to me. Right, Iowa sending 7 and Michigan sending 8. Felt like both of those teams underachieved a little bit last year. I mean, Michigan they got big wins to end the year, Ohio State and Alabama. So obviously, if you're a fan, you're feeling very optimistic about this next year. But I also think like half of those 8 guys are first round picks, right? Will Johnson, Kenneth Grant, Colston Loveland, Mason Graham. Like you had 4 first round picks on your team. And you only went 8-5. Like I'm not trying to dog Michigan or Sharon Moore or anything here. I'm just saying, and it'll be reflected in my coaching rankings. Like at a certain point, we do need to recognize that, like, even though Jim Harbaugh didn't leave Sharon Moore's staff, he did leave Sharon Moore some good players, and
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Moore failed to identify. We'll get into it more with the coaching rankings, but um, so we'll stick on this. I think Maryland sending 5. It's basically what we talked about before. Like you sent more guys to the NFL Combine than you had wins last year. You know,
Oof, oof. That's a good
I mean,
E.
so that's bad. Rutgers sending 4. I think that I think that's kind of a testament to where that program is going. I mean, Rutgers sent more guys to the NFL Combine than USC sent. Did you ever think in your life, Zach, that you would ever see more players from Rutgers go to the NFL Combine than USC? Like, that's just wild.
Yeah, that's well, and I think I appreciate what you're saying because I think the NFL Combine is maybe a referendum on what coaches are doing well and what they're not doing well. And I think you think of USC and Lincoln Riley, and you think they should be able to churn out talent and be a destination. And instead, they like a lot of the talent has either dried up or they've transferred out. And that's I think that's been a concern we've been talking about for weeks and months now. Whereas I think Rutgers, I think I'm actually surprised that Rutgers is only sending four with all the talent that they had. Now I know they have a number of guys coming back.
As I say, they have guys coming back too.
Yeah, but I'm surprised, and I think that speaks to what Shiano's building there.
Yeah, he's building a good development program, and I think like we talked about it a little bit. Well, you weren't here, but Jeff and I talked about it a little bit when it came to the hiring of their new defensive coordinators. Like, there is a certain way you have to go about things if you're Rutgers, right? With getting your recruits and getting talent in the building.
Yeah,
To be Rutgers and have four guys go to the NFL, like that is a sign. And you're still bringing guys back. Like that's not all of them. And you're still bringing guys back. To me, that's a huge testament to development, but also being able to find guys that maybe other schools aren't as interested in, right? And bringing those guys in. So, Indiana with two, does that strike you at all?
I'm shocked that Mike Kadick did not get an invite. Like I really thought he would. I mean, he was one of their leaders on that offensive line. I know there were several offensive linemen that didn't get invites. Josh Fryer at Ohio State was another one, but I thought that he would get an invite just as a leader on that front.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Trojan Friday is saying it's context needed, though, without looking it up. I'm not so sure a lot of USC's roster was combine/draft eligible. I'm not trying to put a dig at USC as much as I'm just trying to praise Rutgers. I hope it didn't come off that way that I was like trying to, take a jab at them. It's just USC's a blue blood, right? And Rutgers
Yeah,
is historically a very bad program, and
yeah.
it's just a testament um, to what Greg Schiano's doing. So sorry if that sounded like I'm going off on USC. I'm going off on Maryland. I'm not going off on USC here.
Well, maybe I'm going off on USC a little bit. No offense to Trojan. I I don't. I think it's a data point. I don't think it tells the whole story. But I think if you are like I don't know how you can look at that number along with all the other data points that we have on USC right now and be like, this is a problem. So
Yeah, it's a problem, but this is still like this isn't a program that's like down so bad that they're never going to be able to recover, right? Like it's a problem because Lincoln Riley is making decisions
yeah,
right now that I'm not sure are best for him and his program.
yeah,
Now the general manager, the front office stuff like that, I think is A+. Like that kind of stuff you're doing, keep going. But the hiring Luke Heward to be your offensive coordinator, continuing to keep play calling responsibilities, like I, that's the kind of stuff that I'm a little concerned about. Now, again, at the same time, Dan Lynn, you were able to keep him, and we know teams like Penn State and others were going after Dan Lynn this offseason,
yeah,
but you managed to keep him. So it's a mixed bag with USC right now. There's just like there's good, but then there's also bad, and then there's also concerns. And so I think this next year for USC is just one of those big years where it's like, what are you going to show us, and what is this going to say about not so much the program? I think it's more on Lincoln Riley than it is the program.
hmm yeah,
So
yeah. I think that's a good because I don't think USC's ever gonna go away. I think it's more is Lincoln Riley really the right guy, and I think more and more it feels like the answer is no.
yeah, yeah. All right. A few other comments really fast, and then we'll get on. Joe R says only two invites speaks to the tremendous coaching job by IU staff. Yeah, I mean
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was what we harped on all year was Indiana just a very well coached team, and they are bringing some guys back too. I mean, there's guys that had NFL potential that are coming back, so that's there as well. Penn State guy saying Michigan 100%. I'm friends with an insider that covers Rutgers, and they are spending like nuts. Yeah, I think they were labeled one of the top 5 biggest spending teams in the transfer portal. This after the season was over, which I'm not surprised with getting some of the guys they did, like Damon Payne, Troy Williams, Justice Haynes. But like I said, I would have thought maybe they would spend a little bit more to maybe get an additional offensive lineman. But that's just me though. Sam cleared that up in our last Sunday episode, so we don't need to rehash that. If you want to know more about that, Sam and I had a lengthy discussion on that. Philip asked, "Did Curtis Rourke get an invite?" He did. Let me see if I have the list here. Of the quarterbacks in the Big Ten that got invites, you had Curtis Rourke, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, and Max Brosmer of Minnesota ended
I
up getting an
was
invite.
so excited that Brosmer got an invite. Absolutely should have gotten one, and I'm glad that he did.
Yeah, yeah. Running backs, you had Travion Henderson, Caleb Johnson, Jordan James, Donovan Edwards, Quinshon Judkins, Woody Marks, Kyle Monangai, Kalel Mullings. Yeah. Were there any names that you noticed that got an invite or didn't get an invite, Zach?
Well,
of course, we said Zachary Franklin from Illinois.
Yeah,
That was
Zachary
one.
Franklin, Mike Kadick from Indiana.
Yeah.
I think this is not the question you asked, but I think I'm curious to see how certain players test, and I hope that a lot of them do. Like honestly, I think Donovan Edwards needs a good combine to get back into the draft conversation.
At the very least, he needs to show his athleticism because the athleticism's there. He just has to put it up with his numbers, right?
Yeah, and I think
that's what he's going to get drafted on. He's not going to get drafted on his ability to hit the hole. We saw it wasn't great last year.
Not the film. No, the film's bad.
He's going to get drafted on. Wow, this guy's uber athletic, and we can put him in the slot, and then he can also come into the backfield, and he's going to be one of those not gadget. That's different. He's one of those guys that they see coming out there, and they don't know where he's going to line up exactly. Yeah, and that's valuable in the NFL. So, all right.